Mark, your question, much info is coming to light that debunks the heliocentric model, and that we're traveling 64,000 miles per hour through space, and also debunks everything NASA has ever done, painting them as actors, Photoshop artists. Is this a field that you've recently looked into? And the answer is not really, but I just, as a mere rule of thumb, I'm suspicious of any government-funded organization, NASA, Lockheed, all of them. I don't trust anything. On some levels they may be doing good work and what have you, but I just distrust them on sight. And because if they were trustworthy, then they would have already been involving themselves openly with the Nikola Teslas and the Walter Russells, and those are just, even the Wilhelm Reichs. But most of these people died in obscurity. Some of them died even in federal prisons, who had wonderful sciences to bring to the world. So how can you trust them, these federal groups? And especially when it comes to cosmology, I think, well, let's put it this way. I think that right now the whole of science is bankrupt and is in a state of absolute turmoil behind closed doors. I read a lot of books, and I read a lot of science books, so I know that they are. There's many, many reasons for why they're in this position right now. That's too lengthy to go into. But just in short, it means that they're materialistic, reductionist, rationalist kinds of philosophy. These Cartesian models have run aground from within. They do have contenders from outside who've done a lot of damage, but just even from within. Forget about any rival schools. Just from within, they've desiccated and crumbled. And so now they have a facade. So these people step out of the woodwork, like these Richard Dawkins, and I have a lot of respect for people like that because I like the work that they do to debunk the obscenities of religion. So I'm not totally against these physicalists, okay? But when it comes to the deeper questions of meaning of existence, then I do have to take a contrary position than them. But science in general is up shit creek, and they just don't know where to turn. And one of the areas that's particularly weak is cosmology and astrophysics. This is as well as physics in general, and so they don't know where to turn. And so what they're now doing is flagrantly, as they thrash around for new ideas, they're violating the core principles of science. That's what string theory is. Any kind of answer that goes into the hypothetical and the virtual violates the codes of science, which is that you have to see it, touch it, feel it, taste it, be of the five senses before it becomes scientific. Well, now that seems to be just willy-nilly thrown out the door. And all sorts of now highly theoretical, virtualistic paradigms, theorems are being put forward in order to do what? Prop up the bankrupt system. They can't let it fall, and then they break even their rules in order to prop it up. Now, none of this is sustainable, and none of it is warranted, and none of it is ethical. How come then, if it was ethical, then how come for hundreds of years, since the Middle Ages, since the rise of normal science, mainstream science, they have literally cast to the winds so many theories of great scientists because it was too metaphysical in their eyes, or too mystical, or too theoretical. They ruined the careers of hundreds of scientists. Hundreds and hundreds of people went to the wall. Hundreds and hundreds of great paradigms that could have been transformative to society were shelved and sequestered and destroyed. And now the same culprits who are responsible, right, these same scientists from this homogenistic world, from that orthodox science world, have the gall to turn around as if none of that ever mattered or happened, and utterly try to change the platform upon which science is predicated, just because they know that they have run themselves bankrupt. Can you think of anything more criminal than that? And they do it in order to still keep their chairs. It's happening in philosophy, it's happening in all of the sciences. In order to, Noam Chomsky has found out things that help bankrupt what was known, to neuroscientists. And there's pockets of people here, there, and everywhere who have done immense damage to the normal paradigms. Theories have been put forward showing you that our creation, this planet, is just the odds of it coming together mathematically and geometrically, the way it's shaped, the way it's formed, are trillions and trillions and trillions of 1 to 1. So they were stuck, right? They were compromised, all the mainstream people. And so they've done their utter best. They've employed the smartest brains that they can, still materialistic, still nominalistic, to try and answer these questions. But to do so meant to shift the entire basis of what science is all about. Now they're very much into the theoretical. Now they're very much into saying, oh, science is still real, even though it's something that can never be seen, never be proven. In other words, never falsified. The very things that they used to use as arguments against the spiritual teachers, they are now using as defenses against them to their own paradigms. How fraudulent! And we should never let them away with it, because it's a terribly unethical, almost criminal move on their part. And it doesn't help us in the end get any closer to the truth about what our universe and our cosmos and our sense of being is all about.